The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. There is something that has been worrying us as Africans. As much as we try to understand, we just can't. We are finding solution to this problem for decades now. We have leaders who go and sit down and tell us what this thing is causing to the African. But these same people just can't do away with these things. A few people sat down, demarcated Africa. Until date, with the 54 leaders that we have, are finding it so difficult to undo what just 10, 15, 20 people decided to do. This is something that is so worrisome. And Joshua Maponga is asking the same question. How can just a few yellow people determine the fate of us for decades, and we are still here asking ourselves, how do we get out of this situation when we can just unite like the way they united to come and demarcate us? Everybody is just doing what he or she wants. We know this division is helping them, but the African loves it to do things to please these people rather than doing things that will please and set the African free. We have been in this situation for a very long time. This shouldn't be something that even in this 21st century, the African will still sit down and be talking about it. These are things that we should be able to do by now. But these same people still sit somewhere, laugh at us for how maybe easy it is for us to do away with these things.
That how can 10 to 15 white men sit on a table and make an agreement which 54 presidents and leaders cannot undo? What is it that such a small group of united Europeans can take a ruler and cut your continent to pieces? Here we are 63 years later talking about the Africa Union and Kwame Nkrumah's vision, Kambarage's vision, Kenneth Kaunda's have come and gone, Banda's have come and gone, Mugabe's have come and gone. And what makes it so sad is that during the liberation struggle, Tanzania becomes a home base for all of them. ANC, SWAPO, ZANU-PF, Frelimo, all of them, they were in the same camp. They all were agreeing as comrades, let's go back and liberate our countries. But immediately all of them go back to their countries. They've become enemies of each other. So are we only friends at war and we're enemies at peace? And if we can fail, therefore, as African governments in this deja vu of what we lost, over and above the culture that Chinua Achebe can echo, now we're talking about the loss of even the unity that became the fuel of our own independence.
But King, you know, let's trace it. In 1963, in Addis Ababa, the question of undoing Berlin was a live issue. And if you look at the early debates, there are those who said, let us undo the boundaries. And then it was examined, and they argued that if we started undoing the boundaries, there would be great conflict because the neo-colonizer is still with us. The same was revisited in Cairo in 1964. Hosted by Gamal Abdel Nasser. And the key voices at that time were Nyerere and Nkrumah. Nkrumah believed that these boundaries were temporary because Africa was going to unite anyway. So his argument was, well, these are only going to be boundaries for purposes of administration. And the doctrine of inviolability of inherited boundaries was then drilled down. Little did he know that these were the things that were going to be gridlock and paddocks that would hold us together. So in 1965, when he convenes a meeting in Accra, he himself takes the view, and Nyerere speaks about it on 6th of March 1997. He says that they thought that they would come out of that meeting saying there is a United States of Africa. But the neo-colonizer was thinking differently, and a year later Nkrumah is overthrown. But Nkrumah said something that answers your question. He said that it will be easy to do away with the colonizer as the political leader. We may even solve our economic problem, but there is something that happened to our minds. And that is going to take a little longer to deal with. And he was echoing a statement that had been made in 1933 by an African-American, Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of the Negro.
African.
And Ngugi wa Thiong'o later writes about it in terms of decolonizing the mind. And I
Brilliant book, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
And I think while you're on that,
yes,
it should be illegal for anyone who wants to start talking Pan-Africanism, for example, who has not gone through 2 or 3 of those books that you have mentioned. How the African,
how Europe
civilized the world. There's one
absolutely.
also how the African civilized Europe and how Europe, uncivilized Africa, so to speak. And the Chinua Achebe, great work, Things Fall Apart, and Decolonization of the Mind by Ngugi, and Steve Biko also, I Write What I Like.
I think, yes.
And I think if you can put a nice little catalog.
And Antachek Diop.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Antachek Diop, really, those must be compulsory readings.
And
to remove, there is also, and there is no harm in that, but there is too much romanticization of Pan-Africanism without looking at the practical Pan-Africanism.
Obligation, yeah.
So I think what those books do is to drill down. There is another one that I would want to put on the list. This is Adekeye Adebajo, Africa After the Cold War, The Curse of Berlin.
But for the lighter readers, of course, the economic hitmen.
Yes.
Then you begin to have the people.
These people came united and did this. It's because of how united they came and did it. That is why we are finding it so difficult to undo it. Because we are not united. We are taught not to love ourselves. Until date, the African do not love the brother. We do not love ourselves. We can go to any length to sell our brothers for just ink and paper. The African will always talk and do less when it comes to defending the brother. That is why people will come into the continent, and we are the ones that will help them to locate where our resources are, do anything at all they want to do, and go away. Without us thinking about the consequences of tomorrow, asking ourselves, what we are allowing these people to do here, can we go there and do that? As I'm allowing this person to destroy my land, when mine is finally destroyed, can I go and have theirs? We really need to unite as a people. That is the only thing that can set the African free. Unity and love towards one another. The African do not love the brother. We don't love ourselves. Even when we travel out of the continent, as other people are protecting their race, we are always there to make sure that we put our brothers into trouble. These people brainwash us for centuries, and this is still in us. We are not ready for anything. But we have forgotten that when there's trouble, it is only your brother in the same skin type that can set you free. They have made us anything at all to see themselves. We are the only ones in this whole world that do not love ourselves. Yet we expect people to love us. Yet we expect that wherever we go as black people, when people see us, they have to value us, see us as humans. When you yourselves, you don't see yourselves as such. Even in our respective countries, we either use religion to divide ourselves, use tribe to divide ourselves, and all these things are created by these people. But as much as we try to make the African understand certain things, no. And until we are able to break away from everything that they gave to us, we will never see the freedom. Because when we get to a point that we need to cross, one thing of theirs will cross our way to divide us. The education is never there to support us. It is there to brainwash us. Their religion, the same thing. Everything about these people is not meant for our good. All the things that are good for them, they kept them away from us. And until we are able to do away with that, we can never move forward. We can never unite. We can never see the freedom we are looking for. This is the time that we need to unite. We don't have to allow the generations to come and face what we are facing. We should be a sacrificial lamb at this moment to set the other generations that will come free. Other people must take that mantle, and it should be us. We are fortunate that this our era, we have access to information. So what is the hindrance to we coming together as a people to defeat these people that are fighting us? United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in Africa.